Recent pregnancy difficulties have forced Chiska to be admitted to the hospital in Mallorca, leaving Nadal torn between staying with her and traveling to London to compete in Roger Federer's final match at the Laver Cup. Now, stay tuned to find out all of the need-to-know details, along with other need-to-know tennis details. First up, Rafael Nadal's wife was recently hospitalized. Here's why. Rafael Nadal's wife, Maria Francisca Perello, who is 31 weeks pregnant, was admitted to the hospital. The Spanish newspaper Diario de Mallorca reports that Perello, also known as Chiska, is still being watched and that physicians may advise that she have surgery. She was admitted to the hospital, but no additional information has been made public regarding the reason. Her parents are there in the private clinic in Palma, and Rafael Nadal has also traveled to be there. But Nadal is still in New York as he prepares for the US Open, which will be held the following week, when he hopes to add to his 22 Grand Slam victories. Despite losing shockingly to Borna Coric in the Cincinnati Masters last week, as he recovers from an abdominal injury, the Spaniard will be among the favorites predicted to win at Flushing Meadows. Now the 36-year-old has been very quiet about his personal and private matters, but in June he announced that he and his longtime partner Chiska were expecting their first child, which was a very exciting announcement. Nadal and Perello wed in October of 2019 and hinted that they were planning to have a family shortly during the COVID-19 global lockdowns in April of 2020. Rafa Nadal's sister Maribel has offered an upbeat update on his wife Chiska, who is currently expecting a boy, according to rumors. On Thursday, Maribel Nadal, who has also been by Chiska's side throughout her hospital stay, shared some reassuring remarks regarding the circumstance. Chiska is doing extremely well, according to Maribel, who made the statement following an event in Madrid attended by Spanish Queen Letizia and in which she represented the Rafa Nadal Foundation. Furthermore, after his game at the Laver Cup recently, Nadal spoke candidly about how hard it was for him to leave Chiska. He acknowledged that the weeks had been challenging, with little sleep and some overall stress. Now, Nadal spoke about the situation recently, stating, "The situation at home is a little more problematic than usual." He continued, "In contrast to the strain that you are used to in the workplace, I have had to deal with different pressure. The good news is that everything is fine and a lot calmer now. We are certainly very happy to hear that she is doing well, and things seem to be back on track in terms of her pregnancy." In other news, Serena Williams' stepmother has been involved in a lot of controversy. Here's everything that you need to know. After a 5-year controversy involving allegations of document fraud, bankruptcy, and a family fortune, Serena Williams' stepmom has run out of luck. Serena Williams' stepmother has apparently finally given up trying to save the tennis legend's childhood house, and it will now be sold to settle a $500,000 debt that she owes. Various media outlets state that Lakeisha Williams, age 43, the estranged wife of King Richard Williams, has hired a specialized foreclosure firm to supervise the sale of the Florida home in Palm Beach Gardens and transfer the cash to her creditors. The decision will end the 5-year legal dispute in which Lakeisha was accused of impersonating her ex-husband Richard, now aged 80, to convert the mortgage into her name, even though the 4-bedroom house had been in Williams' family's possession since the year 1995. But when she failed to follow through with a repayment schedule after she took out a huge $255,000 loan to fund a now-failed trucking company. Additionally, Lakeisha attempted to stop the foreclosure 3 times by declaring herself bankrupt, but the first 2 attempts were rejected, and the third appears to be headed the same way. Now, sadly, the once smart house has deteriorated to the point where many believe that it is uninsurable due to issues including a severely leaky roof, but it needs to be sold since it is the only asset that might be able to pay off some of her debt, which is currently at $513,213 in total. On September 27th, there was supposed to be an auction. However, it is unclear if that happened. The house sale and legal proceedings will now be handled by Get Liquid Funding LLC and its attorney Megan Weidmeyer, according to Lakeisha. A recovery agreement and full assignment of surplus funds between Get Liquid Funding and Lakeisha was signed and submitted to Palm Beach County's 15th Judicial Circuit. The property is valued at over $1.4 million on realtor websites. However, due to its terrible state, the true value is almost half that amount. According to the agreement, the approximate assessed value of the property was $736,168, but not everything is lost for Lakeisha. After paying back the loan, there will be $222,954 in excess funds remaining. Lakeisha will be paid 88% and Get Liquid Funding 12%, or $196,199 and $26,754 respectively for their services, according to the conditions. Now, it's the most recent and possibly final episode in the protracted love story between Richard and his ex-wife, we hope. Next up, Nick Kyrgios has recently opened up about his defeat and ongoing case. Here's all the details. In advance of his return to the ATP Tour in Japan this week, Nick Kyrgios has spoken candidly about the hurt of losing in the quarterfinals of the US Open last month. Since losing to Karen Khachanov in the quarterfinals at Flushing Meadows, where he was defeated in 5 sets and lost a valuable chance to win his first Grand Slam, Kyrgios hasn't played. After reaching the Wimbledon final in July and eliminating then world number 1 Daniil Medvedev, the Australian star was in top form. Many expected him to advance further at the US Open. Due to his unwillingness to get immunized, Novak Djokovic was disqualified from the tournament, while other top competitors like Rafael Nadal withdrew early. Kyrgios, though, lost to Khachanov in a thrilling 5-set match. The 20th ranked player in the world promptly took a flight to be with his family, choosing to remain in Australia until this week to spend time with his ill mother. As a result, he wasn't able to attend the most recent Laver Cup, Roger Federer's illustrious career final match. Kyrgios revealed the heartbreaking loss in the US Open in a press conference this week before the Japan Open. Obviously, that one really stung because I thought that I was the favorite after I defeated Medvedev. He added, "I thought the US Open was a wonderful chance." Despite his recent court appearance in Australia for an alleged common assault, Kyrgios said that it was not tough at all to concentrate on this week's events. On the day that he is slated to play in Tokyo, the 27-year-old is scheduled to have his case heard at a court in Canberra, Australia's capital. According to Kyrgios, "There is only so much I can manage. I'm taking all the necessary action and managing that off the court. It will be interesting to see everything that happens to the Aussie player and if he will ever get back to a sense of normalcy." And finally, the Australian Open will certainly feel like a new era of tennis with some of the sport's greats missing. The withdrawal of Roger Federer and Serena Williams from the Australian Open in January will mark the very beginning of a new time for tennis. But it is more likely that the 9-time winner Novak Djokovic will play on his beloved Melbourne Park hard courts. The former world number 1 Djokovic has a lingering doubt about whether he can visit Australia again after a tennis season in which he won Wimbledon but missed 2 of the majors, the Australian and the US Opens, for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. After the Australian authorities determined that Djokovic might have hampered the country's ability to respond to the pandemic and disrupted civil order, he was deported the day before the Australian Open. Now, in order for him to return, Djokovic must obtain approval from Australia's immigration minister before being given a 3-year visa under Australian immigration legislation. This approval must be based on compelling or compassionate reasons. The director of the Australian Open, Craig Tiley, has noted that conditions in Australia have changed significantly since Djokovic's suspension 9 months ago. He said that they were about to host a competition akin to the days before the pandemic. At a Melbourne Victory in Business luncheon recently, Tiley responded to a question by saying, "We are on pace to have all the big players back." Back at the height of the pandemic, Djokovic was denied entry to Australia due to the decisions taken by former coalition government and then immigration minister Alex Hawke. Now, Djokovic had won 3 Australian Opens before Rafael Nadal won the competition in the Serbian's absence. Sadly, all parties involved in Djokovic's case, including the tennis player, his representatives, Giles, and Tennis Australia president Tiley, have kept quiet about the matter, but fingers crossed, he will be back again very soon. And there you have it, everything that you need to know about Rafael Nadal's wife and why she was recently admitted to the hospital while pregnant. Now, make sure to let us know your thoughts down below, and as always, thanks for watching.